on the gridiron or courtside, you know what time it is. It's
Sports plus life. Sports plus life.
ringside or front court or field pass, we ballin', no. Knuckle up or buckle up, I tell it like it is when I'm on my show. Home run, slam dunk, knockout, or gossip go.
Sports plus life.
Yeah.
Sports plus life.
Yo, 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 yo! What's up? What's really good? It's your boy, Brandon Brevon Towns, host of that show called Sports Plus Life, you heard? And you already know what's going down today, bruh. Yeah. So guess what? Turn it off, turn it off, turn it all the way off, boy, yeah. What's up? What it do? How you doing? How you feeling? Oh boy, that springtime weather is here, right around, it was around the corner, but now it is here. And please allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Brandon Brevon Towns, host of that show called Sports Plus Life. That there sports podcast where we talk about all of the necessary things in sports. And even some of them things that go on in that thing that we call their life. But anyway, I hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody is doing wonderful, okay? It is a beautiful day. It was like about 77, 78 degrees today. After yesterday was just an ugly, rainy day. Lord, had things happen. Lord, had me stressed. Had me stressed at work. Had me really stressed. But today, the exact opposite. Beautiful. High 70s, shorts weather day, make it feel like spring is coming. I'm getting notifications on my phone about Bible study. In about 5 minutes, I'm going to have to miss that because I'm a little busy, but I'll go back on YouTube and I'll catch up. I will catch up, okay? I will catch up. That boy. I will catch up. But anyway, I hope everybody's doing good. Weekend is coming. It is Thursday. Thursday. March the whatever the day it is. I'm just playing. Thursday, March 25th. Yesterday was my mama's birthday. Shout out, happy birthday to you, Mom. I love you. 64th birthday yesterday. I know my mama's birthday the 24th. Today's the 25th. 2000 other 2-1. So we got some things we got to get into. NBA trade deadline. Forgive me last week for not mentioning March Madness college basketball. So without further ado, let's get to it, bruh. Okay, we are going to start off with the NBA. Today was the trade deadline, and there were some moves made, some moves that were kind of, I don't really want to say eye-popping, but definitely made you say, whoa, okay. We'll just jump right into it. We'll start off with the Los Angeles Clippers. And I'm going to say the Clippers because what is the one thing that everybody has been saying the Clippers have been lacking over the past season and a half? You know we got Kawhi. You know we got Paul George. We know we got Serge Ibaka. I'm speaking as if I'm a Clippers fan. And but what is missing? I mean, like I said, you got rid of Montrez. You let Montrez walk. And you brought in Nicholas Batum, who has been a pleasant surprise. But everybody has been saying, hey, the Clippers have been missing a point guard, a legit point guard. Me, for one, I thought they had one in-house with Reggie Jackson when they acquired him last season. I always thought Reggie Jackson is a good player. But what the Clippers did today, they traded today Lou Williams, Lemon Pepper Lou, to the Atlanta Hawks for, wait for it, drum roll, Rajon Rondo. Rajon Rondo is heading to the Los Angeles Clippers for LPL. That stands for Lemon Pepper Lou. Lou Williams is going to the Atlanta Hawks where he can have them Magic City wings every day. But the big story is the Clippers now have appeared to finally get their point guard. Have they lost some scoring getting rid of Lou Williams? Yes. But now the Clippers perhaps may have catapulted themselves into the favorites to come out of the Western Conference. I know they're sitting in the third seed right now, but of course you knew Kawhi and Paul George weren't going anywhere. You still have Serge Ibaka.
Shut the fuck
You
up.
still have Nicholas Batum. You still have Marcus Morris. You still have Pat Beverly. You still have Reggie Jackson. You still have Zubats. There's still a loaded team. So you give up Lou Williams, a couple of second-round draft picks, and some cash. That's the official trade. But what we're really paying attention to is Rajon Rondo, a guy that the Clippers tried to definitely lure in free agency this past offseason, but he took the money grab for Atlanta and ended up getting traded to the Clippers anyway. So, I mean, kudos to you, Rondo. And what they really want, they don't give a damn about regular season Rondo. They could care less about regular season Rondo. They're looking for playoff Rondo to go against that foe that is the Los Angeles Lakers, who are right now beaten down and fucked up, quite frankly. The Lakers are in trouble. LeBron James has gotten hurt, high ankle sprain. He's out for a month. Anthony Davis has already been out a month. The Lakers are in trouble. You wondered if the Lakers would make a trade today? They did no such thing. No movement whatsoever was made by the Los Angeles Lakers, but the Clippers have done their thing. Now, it was a lot of speculation today that Kyle Lowry, who has an argument that he's the greatest Toronto Raptor ever, that Kyle Lowry would possibly get traded, as well as Lonzo Ball. But as early as 10:30 this morning, it was pretty much known, it was pretty much being said that Kyle Lowry was going to get traded to the Philadelphia 76ers. Well, it turns out Kyle Lowry did not get traded at all. He's going to finish the season with the Toronto Raptors. There doesn't appear to be a buyout in the works. He seems to be perfectly okay with finishing the season as a Raptor, and he'll be a free agent at the end of the season, because one thing Kyle Lowry said is that wherever he got traded to, because the teams that were in the mix was Philadelphia, Miami, the Lakers, and he was saying that he wanted a 2-year extension, paying him $25 million per year, 2-year, $50 million extension. I don't know if those teams were willing to do that. I don't know what those teams were willing or not willing to give up. I can imagine that if he was looking to go, if Philadelphia was looking to make a trade, I'm pretty sure Toronto would have looked for a draft pick included with Shake Milton, probably, maybe Seth Curry, possibly as so much as Tobias Harris. You knew that wasn't going to happen, and especially with the Tobias Harris part. He's having a great season. He should have been an all-star. If you're looking at the Miami Heat, they possibly could have wanted Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, possibly a pick, maybe even possibly, well, I don't think they would get rid of Goran Dragic, but possibly Kendrick Nunn, and that might have been too much for Miami. If you're the Lakers, I heard things like names such as KCP, Dennis Schroeder, possibly Montrezl Harrell, and it just was too much. That's too much depth. I mean, that's too much depth right now that the Lakers are willing to pay. And can the Lakers afford to take on a $30 million, the rest of a $30 million contract, along with giving Kyle Lowry what he would want, which would be a 2-year extension worth $50 million. So Kyle Lowry stays put. Lonzo Ball stayed put. I heard there were rumors about him possibly going to the Knicks or the Clippers. He did not get traded. Victor Oladipo was traded from the Houston Rockets to the Miami Heat. Another big that's another big move, because Oladipo's getting healthy. He didn't want to be in that dumpster fire now known as the Houston Rockets, even though I feel so terrible for Steven Silas, because it's not fair what he's having to go through after waiting 20 years of being an assistant coach. And now you get to Houston. When you first hired, you had Russell Westbrook and James Harden. Now you don't have either. Now you don't have Oladipo. I mean, surprised they didn't. You don't have Boogie Cousins. Surprised they didn't try. John Wall didn't say, "Hey, get me the hell up out of here too." So Oladipo is going to Miami. He's going to the Heat, and so now you're teaming him along with Jimmy Butler. I think it's a great move. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Dragic. I think this is a very good move for the Heat. I think they are in prime position to possibly lock up that 4th seed, because when I say 4th seed in the Eastern Conference, the top 3 seeds in the East are set. They're not in any order, but the top 3 seeds in the East is going to be Philly, Brooklyn, and Milwaukee. I don't know the order yet. Right now, Philly's number 1, Brooklyn's number 2, Milwaukee is hot on their tail for number 3. Matter of fact, Brooklyn lost and Milwaukee won, so they may be tied for number 2. But Miami's in prime position to challenge for that number 4 spot and at least have home court for a series, along with, and this goes along with another big trade being that was made today, the Chicago Bulls. Why the Chicago Bulls, you say? They're 10th in the East, you may say. They just got Nikola Vucevic from the Orlando Magic, the all-star center from the Orlando Magic, to go along with Zach LaVine, who is a fantastic young player. He clearly is way too underrated. Zach LaVine can ball. He's averaging 28. We all know he could dunk, but he's shooting 42% from three-point territory. That is big time. The Bulls they're going for it. They're going for, and I believe that they could possibly make the noise. I'm gonna have to get the opinion of my man Tony. I don't know if it's gonna be today because it's already past 7 o'clock. I still want to eat dinner, so I gotta make sure my kids get put to bed, and you know, all the parenting shit. And speaking of the Orlando Magic, as they appear to be making wholesale changes, they're gutting the team. They traded their star forward Aaron Gordon to the Denver Nuggets. And that, to me, is also a big deal because now you have Aaron Gordon going there with Joker, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter. Denver is looking to make a push because with the Lakers being so banged up, with the Lakers sitting at 4 now, and quite possibly in a month could be in the 6th or 7th spot even, these teams in the Western Conference have to capitalize. That's what the Clippers did by getting Rondo. That's what Denver is doing by adding Aaron Gordon. The Portland Trail Blazers added Norman Powell from the Toronto Raptors today. And they just have to go for it. They have to go for it. JJ Redick was traded from the Pelicans to the Mavericks. LaMarcus Aldridge and the San Antonio Spurs have completed a buyout of his contract, and right now it looks like the leading candidate to land the former multiple-time All-Star and LaMarcus Aldridge is the Miami Heat. So Miami is trying to load up now to make a legit defense of their Eastern Conference crown. You know, you got Oladipo, you put LaMarcus Aldridge on that team. You know, if all goes well, you're working with something. You really are working with something. So, I mean, really, those are the big moves in regards to the NBA trade. So, yes, I did say Norman Powell went to the Trail Blazers. I'm surprised that they traded Gary Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood. I'm kind of surprised by that. But Portland sees the opportunity too. And we shall see. Everything has now gotten very interesting as we are in the second half of the season now. And again, like I said, the biggest trades to me, of course, Rondo to the Clippers, Oladipo to Miami, Vucevic to Chicago for and I'm sorry, I didn't say who the Bulls traded away. Otto Porter Jr., who has just been a flop since he signed his big deal a few years ago with the Wizards, and Wendell Carter Jr. And the Bulls are apparently looking at Lonzo Ball. And that's quite possibly, that could be true. I don't know if New Orleans is looking to do a buyout of his contract. Lonzo Ball, who will be a free agent, I believe, at the end of this season. I don't see how he commands with so much money because I'm just going to be real. If you're that dude, then why aren't you sticking with a team? Now look, he could be one of those players who has to bounce around to a couple of teams before he finds his niche. That's happened before. I'll give a great example, Chauncey Billups, who bounced around the beginning of his career, played the Nuggets and the Timberwolves until eventually finding his niche with the Pistons, and the rest is history. Comes to Finals MVP, of course, obviously NBA champion, multiple-time All-Star, Detroit legend, and he'll probably be a Hall of Famer. So that is the big trades in the NBA. You know, as it stands right now, it hasn't changed much as far as the seeding. Philly number 1, Brooklyn number 2, Milwaukee number 3 in the Eastern Conference. Like I said, those are the three. That's the three-headed monster in the Eastern Conference right there. You know, you have the Charlotte Hornets, surprising Charlotte Hornets at number 4, but pretty much 4 through 8 is a logjam. Because you have Charlotte number 4 at 22 and 21, even though they just probably lost LaMelo Ball for the rest of the year due to a broken rib. And that's unfortunate because LaMelo Ball was probably the leading candidate to win Rookie of the Year. Then you have Miami sitting at number 5. Miami, New York, and Atlanta all sitting at 22 and 22. That's 5 through 7. Boston Celtics sitting at number 8. The West, like I said, standings haven't changed much, even though the Lakers are currently nosediving because of the injuries. Utah still number 1, Phoenix number 2, Clippers number 3, Lakers number 4, Nuggets 5, Blazers 6, Mavericks 7, San Antonio at number 8. So, a lot of ground to cover in the NBA. So, I'm glad I could get that out of the way. You fizz me? So, now, what am I moving to next? What are the next topic of discussion? I'm here going to talk about the NFL, baby. So, on to football. Now, as far as free agency goes, I mean, we've had the first wave, we've had the second wave of free agency in the NFL. And pretty much the question will be coming into this 2021 season is who will beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the reigning defending champion, with their geriatric quarterback and his embarrassment assortment of riches that he has at his disposal. Because for the most part, particularly on defense, everybody's coming back. You don't know about Antonio Brown. You don't know about Leonard Fournette. But they've put the franchise tag on Godwin. Gronk has said he's coming back. And the defense, they were able to bring back Levante David. They were able to sign Shaq Barrett. They just finalized a deal with Ndamukong Suh to keep him in Tampa. So the Buccaneers are literally trying to run it back with the same squad. And you figure they're the Super Bowl champs. Their offseason, I'm pretty sure they will have an actual offseason, even though the NFL PA wants to have a virtual offseason. I think, Tom Brady ain't going for that shit because last year when they were supposed to be doing everything virtual, he's throwing football with his receivers in the park. So the Bucs will get a full offseason to get acquainted with each other after winning a championship. How about that? And who is the team that looks best suited to knock them off? Well, as far as the NFC goes, I would have to say you have to look at the Green Bay Packers. Being able to re-sign Aaron Jones, to me, was big time. You figure they will address their needs as far as offensive linemen as well as defensive back in the draft. Because I tell you, I guarantee you they're not drafting a quarterback this time with their first draft pick. I don't know if they're going to go out and try to get a receiver. I don't know if they're going to try to get an Antonio Brown because their receiving core is pretty good. You have Devontae. He's just stalwart. Valdez-Scantling and Lazard were good last year. I mean, the Packers were 13-3, number 1 in the NFC. That wasn't by accident because they were 13-3 the year before. So while everybody says, hey, Aaron Rodgers needs to get more help, they actually have done a pretty good job of developing the players that they have in Green Bay. Like I said, keeping Aaron Jones was big time. They definitely need to address that secondary as well as that offensive line. But I would have to say, off Jump Street, I'd have to say that Green Bay would have to be number 1. Now, I'd have to say I would have to take the Rams number 2. The reason why is because you don't know what's going to happen yet with Matthew Stafford now with the Rams. We know he has Higbee. We know he has Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. They just signed Deshaun Jackson, but can you rely on him to be healthy? But of course, they have Deshaun Jackson to stretch the field. If Deshaun Jackson stays healthy, look out. Look out, not necessarily for him per se, but he will stretch the field, and Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods will feast. They still have Cam Akers. Now, we all know how lethal and great that defense is. And of course, you still have Aaron Donald with Leonard Floyd, and you have Jalen Ramsey on the back end. But that back end took a hit. Troy Hill and John Johnson were both taken away via free agency by the Cleveland Browns. So I'm interested to see what happens there. So I'd have to say the two best you'd be looking at would be Green Bay and the Rams. To me, followed by the Seattle Seahawks. If they can get their little dysfunctional family in order with Russell Wilson and all of these trade talks and all of that other bullshit, that ain't gonna happen, okay? So I think those to me would be the biggest threats in the NFC. Now, if you're looking at the AFC to who would be the biggest threat to dethrone Kansas City, I mean, I'd have to say, you probably have to say the biggest threat would probably say you could make a case for the Buffalo Bills. I think Buffalo, where Buffalo improved so much on offense last year with Josh Allen became an MVP candidate, they kind of took a dip on defense. I think they'll address that, and they did add Emmanuel Sanders to play alongside Stephon Diggs. I don't know what New Orleans was thinking when it comes to letting him go. I mean, they may be that strapped for cash. But I'd also have to say the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, who I don't know what they're going to do with Odell. They found their recipe. You got your 2 stalwart running backs. You got your wide receivers. I mean, are they going to trade Odell? Are they going to keep Odell? If I was Cleveland, I would keep Odell, but I'd let him know, look, bro, you're not going to be 100 receptions for 1,600 yards and 15 touchdowns. That's just not going to happen. You know, are you cool with catching 65, 70 balls for maybe 1,100 yards? And probably you could see him getting about 8 to 10 touchdowns because the run game's gonna open up the play action. But if I tell him, look, if you cool with that, my nigga, then there's a place for you here. You know, if not, then we can see who, you know, we could try to accommodate you to go somewhere. And then, like I said, with on defense, them acquiring Troy Hill and John Johnson to go along with Denzel Ward. And, you know, you have Myles Garrett and Olivier Vernon in that front. Cleveland, to me, looks very formidable. Now, with the Browns, when you give them expectations, they tend to fall flat on their face. I don't think that'll be the case this time because they have the right person as the coach. Now, if they stay healthy, now, of course, if injuries can change anything for anybody. So I would have to put Buffalo, Cleveland, and I'm not going to disrespect Baltimore. You got Lamar Jackson, you have a chance. I don't understand why no free agent wide receivers want to go there. Juju Smith took less money to stay with Pittsburgh. You know, that was cute. T.Y. Hilton is still out there. You know, I don't know what it is why nobody wants to come, no free agent wide receivers anyway, wants to come to the Ravens. I mean, Lamar Jackson ain't that quarterback who can run and can't throw a lick. He can throw. He can chuck it. He really can chuck it. I mean, as far as, you know, just recent free agency things, the Cardinals, who have been making moves. The Arizona Cardinals, they signed Malcolm Butler to a 1-year deal. The Chiefs re-signed DeMarcus Robinson to a 1-year deal. You're seeing a lot of 1-year deals. The Bears let go of Fuller, their cornerback Fuller, and my Broncos conveniently got him up, swept him up in free agency for a 1-year deal. So, to me, I'm looking at the teams who can challenge the conference champions. Oh yeah, Joe Flacco signed as a backup to Philly. Philly, I don't know what's going on in Philly. And I believe in Jalen Hurts. I'm just going to put it that way. And people make too much of a big deal out of the NFC East. I mean, they're a conference full of below average football teams. Do I think that'll happen this year? No, I think you might find a 9-7 team, maybe even a 10-6 team. I'm not putting that much stock into Ryan Fitzpatrick because he's Ryan Fitzpatrick. Fitzmagic will look like Fitzmagic the first 4 weeks, then will dip to Fitztragic by the time you hit the 6-week mark. Even though he has the defense, the best roster in the NFC East is Washington. Now, the Giants have made their moves. They signed Adoree Jackson. They got Kenny Galladay. So really, when it comes to offense, you're now firmly looking at Daniel Jones. You're looking at Daniel Jones because you're saying This is year 3. Are you that dude? Okay, because you have weapons. You have weapons before Galladay, but now you add Galladay to Darius Slayton, to Sterling Shepard, to Evan Ingram when he decides to catch. Saquon Barkley will be back. What are you gonna do, DJ, Danny Dimes, whatever? We're looking at you now. Here's looking at you, kid. Fuck the Cowboys. Now, as far as the again, Washington, I wouldn't have let go of Alex Smith. Alex Smith's starting record in his career as quarterback of Washington was 11-5, and he was 6-4 as a starter in 2018. And the only reason why that fourth loss came is because the game he had that terrible injury against the Houston Texans, he was the starter. They were winning that game, but then he got hurt. They lost the game, so that loss goes to him as if he was a starting pitcher in baseball. But then this past season, he's 5-1. Of course, Ron Rivera is saying, well, what if he gets hurt? Well, there's 31 other coaches with 31 other quarterbacks that are saying the same damn thing. What if he gets hurt? But I mean, it is what it is. They've gone their separate ways. Fitzpatrick is now your quarterback. If he screws up, I could see Taylor Heineke by mid-season. I'm just saying. So that's all I have for the world of football today. Now I'm going to get into the fight game, bruh. It was announced by the man himself that he will be fighting on May the 29th, Memorial Day weekend. And that who I'm talking about is Iron Mike motherfucking Tyson. Again, yes, I'm loving it. God damn it, I feel like a kid again, hearing about my man's getting in the ring again, just like he did in November when he fought Roy Jones and won. Was no draw. But he made that announcement on his Hot Boxing podcast with Canelo Alvarez was a guest. So now the $1 million, or should I say maybe the $25 million question is, who's he gonna fight? While everybody was under the assumption that Mike Tyson was gonna have a trilogy match with Evander Holyfield, that's been an on-again, off-again thing. While Evander Holyfield's representative sent a message to ESPN saying that Mike Tyson had declined the $25 million offer after months of negotiations and everybody thinking the fight was a done deal, that it was off. And then Mike Tyson yesterday comes on a podcast and says that the fight is on. That is nothing but a couple of fundamental differences, but it's going to be off to the races with him and Evander. And now then Yahoo Sports reports today that Mike Tyson's representative said that Mike Tyson misspoke and he didn't realize how far away negotiations were between the two sides, so the fight is now off again. Okay, that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot. I feel bad for Holyfield because, he's 1 minute he's ready. 1 minute, yeah, we're going to fight. The next minute, we're not going to fight. But what we do know is that Mike Tyson will be fighting on May the 29th in Miami at the Hard Rock Stadium. Miami, of course, they've been allowing fans. The state of Florida has acted like COVID has never fucking existed. So I can imagine by Memorial Day weekend, you'll be looking at possibly a 50 to 75% capacity in the stadium because several hundreds of thousands, if not millions more people between now and Memorial Day weekend will have been vaccinated. And if you want to have a fun Memorial Day weekend, you better get your ass vaccinated when they get in contact with you. Me, I can't wait. I would love to see him fight Holyfield for the third time. I definitely would. To me, it's revenge. But another name that has come up that has kind of put their ring in the hat has been James Lights Out Toney. James Toney. So I don't have a problem with that because Tony's a fighter. I mean that. James Toney is a fighter. Even, he's 52 years old. He doesn't do any weightlifting or anything like that. Not now. But even near the end of his career, he just gets in the ring and he fights. That's what James Toney does. That's who James Toney is. So if you're looking for, the dancing kind of, I don't want to say play fighting, because Mike landed some real blows against Roy, but you could tell he pulled his punches because he didn't want to hurt Roy. Mike actually wanted to go the distance, and I'm not mad at him, because what he showed is how technically superior a boxer he is. Particularly, he was more technically superior, the boxer against Roy Jones. I said this my first podcast after the fight, that Mike fought such a technically disciplined fight that it was very impressive. One, even though they were going 2-minute rounds, stamina we knew had been an issue with Mike Tyson, but he looked fresh the whole fight. James Toney is going to stick his nose in there, and he's going to fight. He's going to fight. Mike Tyson would actually have the height advantage, and he would actually have a chance, because I believe that Toney is going to outweigh him. Even though James Toney started off his career as a middleweight, Mike Tyson will be at about 220 for the fight. I believe Toney will probably be at about 230. Toney will probably look like a pot-belly bar fighter, to be honest with you. But you know what? He's just so natural. He's a throwback fighter from Detroit, where he fights with the speed guard, left hand low, parries punches, a lot of head movement, shoulder movement, like the fighters in the 50s. Very hard to hit cleanly, at least in his prime. But you can look at it, he's 52, Mike Tyson's 54. And you should probably have an even matchup. Like I said, if it's James, I want it to be Evander Holyfield, I really do. But if it's James Toney, I will not be disappointed, because I know what Toney is going to bring to the table, to be honest with you. The money will be in Evander Holyfield, but James Toney will bring a fight. Now, then he has the issues with Triller and everything else, so I don't know what is, he said that he's not doing another fight with another production or promotion with Triller. They've pissed him off. I don't know what has happened. The Roy Jones fight with Triller was absolutely amazing. Honestly, it was probably the biggest pay-per-view event of the year, despite the pandemic. 1.6 million buys is 1.6 million buys. But he said his next fight will be with the Legends Only, his Legends Only League, which I'm down with. I just want to see him get in a ring and fight. Memorial Day weekend. I love the way he's doing this. He's fighting 6 months after his last fight with Roy Jones, which was the day after Thanksgiving, November. 6 months later, he's getting back in the ring. And I anticipate, if all goes well, 6 months later, after that, in November of this year, he'll be back in the ring again. Do it, Mike. You're a world-class athlete. You're a fighter. You've kept yourself in shape. This new stage of life that you're in has been absolutely amazing. You've kept yourself and you've gotten yourself back in wonderful shape. And not to quote Rocky Balboa, aka Rocky 6, fighters fight. This is who you are. This is what you do. The same thing for James Toney. The same thing for Evander Holyfield. This is who you are. This is what you do. There are going to be people out there, people that I admire and love greatly, who are going to down talk another fight between 50-year-olds. But you know what? Again, this is who you are. This is what you do. Okay? One thing that Mike Tyson showed in his last fight with Roy Jones, that even at 54 years old, he's still a world-class athlete. And that gets lost in the equation a lot. He's still a world-class athlete. And while we think about Mike Tyson and we think about the knockouts and the first-round knockouts and then all of the things that went on outside of the ring, Mike Tyson has been a world-class athlete since he was 15 years old. So we have to think about that. These boxers, like a James Toney, like a Evander Holyfield, like a Floyd Mayweather, like a Sugar Ray Leonard, like a Oscar De La Hoya, they've been world-class athletes since they were kids. This is what they do. This is who they are. Fighters fight. And with that being said, with a buzzer, with a buzzer, with a buzzer. And with that being said, the topic of life that I have is quick. Last podcast, I highlighted the beef between Candace Owens and Cardi B, which was, honestly, just funny to me. But Cardi B's up since the beef, her song Up, which is dope. I've put it on a couple of my playlists. Is now number 1 in the country. That'll be certified platinum. And just a couple of weeks ago, Bodak Yellow went certified diamond. So Cardi was saying thank you to the haters. And we all know everything that Cardi said in that IG post. That was a big shout out to Candace Owens saying, hi, hater. And, it is what it is. Cardi, do your thing. And Candace Owens, you know what? In the spirit of goodwill, Candace Owens, do your thing. But just stop hating, because Cardi B is not what is wrong with America. You know what's wrong with America? White supremacy. That is wrong with America, all right? That is definitely wrong with America. People having shootings in public places, like the person who went into an Atlanta club or an Atlanta place and shot some people because he had a sex addiction. That is a problem. The Boulder, Colorado, that's what's wrong with America. Not Cardi B. I don't care how much she says wop, wop, wop. Okay? That's not what's wrong with America. These other issues where people are getting killed, people are dying, that is what's wrong with motherfucking America. Okay? So, do your thing, but pump your brakes.
Bye, bitch.
And with that being said, this has been another episode of Sports Plus Life. Listen, if you have not hit that subscription button, definitely do so and become part of the Sports Plus Life family. It's your boy, Brandon Brevon Towns. We love you here. We want everybody to stay safe, stay cool. The weather's about to break. Let's still be mindful of the whole COVID situation, because the COVID is still real. There's been some spikes going on in some other states. Don't let your guard down. Go ahead and get vaccinated up, so by summertime, everybody can be doing their thug thizzle. Again, it's your boy, Brandon Brevon Towns. This is another episode of Sports Plus Life. I'm out this biatch.